Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday, if there is such a thing. So, welcome. I thought wanted to start a little bit earlier because we have dinner in the oven, and I have about an hour and a half before it's ready. So, figured instead of pushing an hour, I can have a little bit of buffer time. So, welcome. So, first off, let me just say, OMG, Amazing Spider-Man, or not Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man No Way Home. That movie was amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. I mean, for once, a movie, so much was built into the hype over the course of, the months and year and all that we had to wait for it. Just so much was built into this thing, and it did not disappoint. I mean, this thing seriously did not disappoint. I mean, it started out maybe a little bit, in a way it was kind of different in a sense. I mean, the whole directly jumping from Far From Home directly into No Way Home was definitely interesting, but before I get into that, I just want to point out that anyone popping up here, if you're interested, feel free to join me and all that. I would love if you guys seen No Way Home so we could just talk about it. You can share your opinions on it. So otherwise, it's just me and my thoughts. But this was a very good movie. I mean, the whole scene interaction with MJ there in the beginning and all that, trying to dodge from the press. I mean, that would have been hard enough if it was 20 years ago with the Raimi Spider-Man. Now, 2021, with the technology we have today, a phone with cameras everywhere. How hard would it be for Spider-Man to get away from those people? I mean, seriously, yeah, it was just wow. I mean, it was just action, all the way through there, and the Charlie Cox, I believe, Daredevil, and all that. His appearance and all that was just really, really cool. I've seen the Daredevil on Netflix. I love that Daredevil on Netflix, and just really glad that we got to introduce him somehow. I mean, it's a perfect way to introduce him to the MCU. With the whole potential, drones, murder kind of thing. You need someone defending Peter Parker. So, although I don't quite understand how they were able to dismiss the charges so quickly from Peter Parker's. The only thing I could possibly think of with how quickly is A, very good lawyer, and B, you actually have to have actual proof, and a video, and that the only proof was hearsay on a video that Peter Parker, ordered a drone strike. But then again, once they recovered the technology there, they could reverse engineer and kind of get things out. Hey, Rob, how's it going? Open invite if you have time. Feel free to stop by. Links here. But I love that thing there. So it was just, and then just the whole interaction. Peter trying to get a normal life and all that. His the teachers that were far from home and all that were basically, I love you, Spider-Man, and all that. And then the gym teacher basically being the conspiracy theorist. That was just, there's always going to be conspiracy theories. Flat Earth, we didn't land on the moon, yada, yada, yada. So I wouldn't be surprised if there would be a Mysterio was right person. Hey, Warlord, how's it going? Tell me, what did you think of the movie, if you've seen it? But I loved it. I just seriously loved it there. And just, although in the beginning, when Strange confronts Peter there, and Strange confronts Peter about, you didn't, how all the things went south already, and then, you talked to MIT first and all that. I don't blame a teenager for forgetting to do everything first before in the last resort. I'm jumping all over the place. I'm not very good at reviews, I don't think, so that's probably why I was hoping for more people to feel free to jump on, just so I could feel to have more to talk. But yeah, but I loved how I just like the whole touching in on one more day and one moment in time, the omit thing. The whole idea to, I mean, that was seriously the only way. That was the only way to it's my Infinity War t-shirt. I got this from, I think, Family Dollar. But the wine wipe thing, Doctor Strange is legitimately the only possible way, honestly, to fix Peter's problem. So it's not like it would have been oh gee, I was totally surprised that it happened. But I don't know. It seemed the only thing that didn't quite make sense is the whole Noisier Peter Parker comes in. So okay, Doc Ock, yes. Green Goblin, yes. Lizard, yes. Because I believe they eventually Lizard knew a little bit about it. Electro didn't make sense for if it was a who knew Peter Parker and they came through, unless it was kind of a thing. Unless the only thing I could think of for why Electro would be there if it was whole they know if Peter Parker Spider-Man brings him in, that Electro knew Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, not knew his identity, but knew Spider-Man, and that because Peter Parker knew who Andrew Garfield knew he was knew he was Peter Parker, he went in, and it kind of pulled him in too somehow. And that's the only thing I could think of. I don't really have many pluses. I mean, also just right off the bat, this movie for me, I give it an A+. Honestly, I mean, I was teetering on A, very, very big A to A+, but I seriously cannot. This is the best Spider-Man movie I have ever seen. My top 3 Spider-Man movies, not including I don't know if I did. I don't know if I did or not. But this was definitely the top 3. If I had to pick the top 3 Spider-Man movies, I'm for the sake of the argument, I'm going to do live action movies. So I'm going to put aside Into the Spider-Verse because it would affect my numbering. If I had to pick the top 3 best amazing Spider-Man movies, it is No Way Home, Spider-Man 2, and Homecoming. That is my top 3 best Spider-Man movies ever. Just this was the whole. I mean, looking back now, they basically turned this last trilogy into one giant origin story. Because you always wonder, because we didn't have an Uncle Ben, we had kind of sort of a responsibility belief, but we didn't have it fully. We had Homecoming, which is the young kid yearning to be an Avenger. In the comic books, it is a young kid who has powers, and now he's going to make money on TV being a wrestler. You got Far From Home, where he learns the responsibility of being a hero, learning a little bit of lesson, not quite, not quite there. But then here with No Way Home, with Aunt May as Uncle Ben, and the saying, now you learn the true meaning of loss and what being a hero really costs you. Because how many of us out there think I can be a hero? I think as a kid, I'd like to be a hero. I'd love to be a hero. But you throw this thing into the mix, I don't know if I could be a hero if I had to pay that price. If I lost my mom, that way. I just don't think I could handle the price. But I was a little surprised, I guess, that because I kind of figured that we had a Uncle Ben ish kind of thing in Homecoming, that the writers and Sony and Disney Marvel were basically, we know who Uncle Ben is, the sacrifice, so we're not going to have to redo the origin over again. So that's what I kind of assumed it was. So when Aunt May died here, I was like, oh, she's Uncle Ben. I thought, I was okay with that. Because honestly, in the comic books, Aunt May is almost like, what the hell is this woman's purpose in the books? When she knew who Spider-Man was Peter Parker, that's when she was really good. That's when her role in the comics was really good and whatever sort of purpose. When she didn't know, when all she was a Aunt May can't find out, she'll have a heart attack, story trope there. Her only purpose was to remind Peter of the guilt. She had no purpose. She had a meaningful death in 400, which they ruined by bringing her back, claiming an actress. And then when she knew who Peter was, and then that was undone after Civil War. So Aunt May dying here in the movie, serving as that catalyst moving forward, and the lesson, I am okay with that. Aunt May, I think, would provide a much bigger impact as Uncle Ben than she would be knowing who Peter was. Partly because it'd affect. I mean, I really resonate with that because we all have that favorite parent, right? I mean, we all have the favorite parent. I'm always closer to my mom, so I can see the connection between Aunt May and Peter, and I felt it a lot more. So it hit me there. I really felt it. It was just impactful in such a way. Again, anyone wants to join, here's a link. Feel free to chat. But this was just so there. I was slightly disappointed. If I had to put a little bit of cons, okay, I liked Andrew Garfield's entrance. The whole here's the Spider-Man outfit, and then hopping in and all that. Andrew Garfield was cool, although the whole MJ throwing bread at him, and the whole hanging from the ceiling and crawling along, it's like going, whatever. Andrew Garfield was cool. Yeah, it was decent. Tobey Maguire's entrance as the cool-looking youth pastor, I was unimpressed. Because it looked like kind of thing. It looked like somebody I'd see edited together on a YouTube homemade video. Homemade video. I was unimpressed, and he didn't seem like Spider-Man, honestly, in that regard. He seemed a little too calmish, like a tourist going, "This is kind of neat. Look, a port. Well, it was there. It was a portal. I walked through it. Interesting." Andrew Garfield, I at least sensed of Spider-Man. This guy seemed like a tourist who got accidentally zapped into Ned's living room. So that was a complaint there in that sense regard. But I love the interaction between the two. All that. I like the fact. Ned bringing them in there. I was wondering how it was going to happen, and Ned bringing them together by accident, because all that little ring thing is the gesture, I believe, and the gesture and the movement, and it activated. It made sense to me. I was able to suspend my belief. But I like the interaction a lot between the three Spider-Man, especially the whole organic webbing versus web shooters. That was really fun. That was fun there. And that's when I felt that the lab scene there and the fight scene is where I really felt, okay, Tobey Maguire is really good in here, because, like I said, when they first entranced, hey, how's it going?
Hey, doing all right. How are you, Matt?
Doing good. I'm just voicing my opinion and feeling like I'm drowning.
So I guess we're just part of the echo chamber here, saying that it was awful, terrible. Don't go see it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Go see it as soon as you can and wear a mask.
$250 million weekend wasted. I'm just saying.
But when you went to go see it, did you turn around and go, "No one's wearing masks"? You know what? J. Jonah Jameson was right. Spider-Man is a menace. He's going to cause so many people to get disease this weekend.
Yeah, maybe. But then again, I went on the second showing on Thursday night, so it was a half full theater on a Thursday. So we were able to space out anyway. But that was just one of the things I really liked in the movie there, when the whole Ned going, "Peter, yeah, Peter, yeah,"
all three of them. Peter, no, first Peter, yeah.
Yeah.
Parker, yeah.
But when they whole Peter, my mind immediately went to Pumpkin Eater. And I just don't know why. Just the whole stupid kid thing with just Peter, Pumpkin Eater. But I just like the interaction there. Although, for you, I'm guessing since you're in here, what got a bigger reaction, Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire coming in?
The first one that walked through. So that was
Andrew.
That was Andrew. So when Andrew walked through and was like, "Hey, this door was right here," you couldn't hear what he said next because you'd have to download a pirated copy to actually hear what was said during a lot of these scenes, because The audience was very reactive to this, and I think it was mostly just due to the fact they haven't been to one of these big budget, huge Hollywood root
Hmm.
for the bad guy, root for the good guy, give some good f yes when it counts for it, and it's fun. But it's like going to see a movie in the hood back in the 1980s. You're afraid to say anything because someone might kill you.
Yeah. For me, I think honestly, I think Tobey Maguire got the slightly bigger one. I mean, I think everyone was excited about Andrew when he appeared, but I think we had a old school first Spider-Man,
Oh my God.
yay yay, with Tobey Maguire, which is the reason why, or that he got the bigger thing. Although I don't know for sure that when my wife was was out of her seat with excitement, yelling with excitement when Toby appeared. So she was a big Tobey Maguire fan for Spider-Man. So she preferred him over Andrew.
And how do you
But it
like
was
the
very,
fact that Green Goblin wound up being a great villain for both Spider-Man for Maguire and Holland
yeah.
for
I really
completely
like
different
that.
reasons?
Yeah. I like the whole Aunt May's purple homeless hoodie thing turned into his more accurate, more common accurate, um, you know, costume. Although I'm not sure if I quite like the whole Green Goblin without the mask still, but I guess the whole people
It's
that,
better than
hold.
the metal.
Yeah, definitely better than the metal in that regard. Maybe, something slightly different and cool, but it's just nice to have his facial features. Maybe if they had some sort of green dot kind of thing. Because I mean, if you can have Avatar look real life, why couldn't you have a bunch of dots all over him and give him a Green Goblin mask and still have the facial features that that would show up?
Yeah,
I
just
mean,
simple enough where they give him a slightly animated, a slightly elongated, more horrific look.
mhm,
And they can do it, and it wouldn't be that difficult. But all the ones that they tried doing of the original clay models just looked freakish and just cartoonish and wouldn't have worked. And let's face it, going back to that first Sam Raimi movie, the budget was great, but the special
mhm,
effects didn't quite hold up, if you know what I mean.
yeah, but
So today they could do it. They just chose, well, we have William and this guy, or Willem and this guy emotes Green Goblin. Why bother giving him CGI? He is the Goblin.
yeah. So what would you grade the movie as?
Oh, it's A plus, but Endgame is definitely better. But I still think Infinity Endgame is better, but this one was better than Infinity War.
Yeah. Well, if we're comparing movie for movie, yeah, I mean, you're gonna have Captain America going up against Thanos, and then a whole army, then everyone going up, assemble! Ah! So you're not gonna top that big old fight scene. So that's why I had to look at it separately. But yeah,
And there
definitely
were
A
a lot of
plus.
lulls.
Yeah, but this was definitely 2.5 hours of not long enough. I wanted more. And like I said, A plus for me. I have a few minor ticks, like Tobey
Everything
Maguire's
was in the
entrance.
dark.
What?
Go back and watch like the one that was done in London where all the special effects were done during the daytime. Almost
Mhm.
every scene shot for shot that had any CG in it was all at night.
Yeah.
And I just hate not being able to see clearly everything. Like the final scene when we get to see the new costume in the dark.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, that was one of my biggest pros actually here. I think I found this picture on, I think, Facebook, or literally an hour ago, or Instagram, and I saved it, and it's already in my Facebook picture. Where is it? Is it? Here we go. One of the biggest pros I have. Oh, come on, seriously? Might have to try and fix this here. Let's see.
I'm
Uh,
saying that to my flickering horror light over here.
yeah, let's see if I can fix this real quick. I need to have permission for some reason. Yeah, fine. I'll have to try and figure this out at a different time before I log off here fully. But this picture a comic book accurate Spider-Man costume. Awesome. I mean, particularly, like I said, the whole. Oops.
Hopefully, there's no
You know,
porn in there. Screen freeze.
particularly, like I said, one of the biggest problems I had was Tom Holland's, bluish things along like the red fingertips and all that. I wanted the actual look
It looked
there.
like he literally just cut stuff up like a serial killer and attached
Mhm.
it like how Spider-Man would have been described to an alien that never saw a human being before.
Yeah, but you got a costume, no Stark technology. So finally these people are Iron Man Junior. Iron Man Junior. I wish they'd take their Iron Man Junior and zip their mouth, please. I hate
He's
that.
literally starting from scratch now after
Yeah.
having lost his mother, his
Mm.
technology, any money, all his friends. He is now the schlub we have all come to love all these years. And it all happened in the span of 3 movies that were, let's face it, really quick.
Yeah.
He's just not even quite in college yet. By the time he starts college, he doesn't know anybody. I'd say, how about we start him off with getting him away from MJ, give him a black cat, and after the next movie afterwards, he gets to see MJ. She has the red dyed hair. She's in a club. She's broken out of her shell. I'd want to see that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing. It was what was it earlier? Just your first point. It just yeah, no family, no support, no. He is kind of thing. Just the fact that, like I said, the whole world doesn't know forgot Peter Parker. The spell in the beginning was make the world forget I'm Spider-Man. This spell was a kind of reversal 180 when he accepted the thing and make the world forget me, Peter Parker. And so he has no high school transcripts. He has no there. He doesn't exist. So he has. That's what I saw the GED book, and I thought, oh, that makes perfect sense. He is not in school anymore. This
But he
guy.
has a new apartment. I don't know
Yeah,
how he quite has that.
you could.
Next
Well,
movie.
you'd be very. I guess we'd be very surprised if you pay in cash just what people will accept.
Oh,
You
yeah. I
know.
mean, in New York City, just like in Miami, cash talks.
So if he can have enough cash and now that he needs cash and all that, now I can open some sort of Daily Bugle type job to where he can be photographer for the news or the blog or
He'll be
whatever.
getting the video for the dailybugle.com.
Yeah, there you go. Video footage. That video footage instead of photos for Jameson. There you go. That's a kind of a good aspect there. And what the hell's going on with my just a stupid phone message. But just awesome. Other than little things, little knickknacks like Aunt Tobey Maguire's entrance. I felt they could have done it better. I
I'm
have one
glad he
other.
didn't look so old because that would have made me feel old.
Yeah, and then I think one of my other one of my other biggest cons that I kind of had was Doctor Strange. Well, for one, he wasn't the Sorcerer Supreme. Technicality that Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme, so he lost it. And I mean, I think Sorcerer Supreme is the best person capable, and Doctor Strange could spin circles around Wong, and just
Yeah, but let's find out in the next movie because Sorcerer Supreme is like a title, but you kind of also have to earn it. And there were separate issues entirely that showed like Marvel Premiere 10 was when he's officially called the Sorcerer Supreme, but it isn't until way later on, until like what, the early 90s,
Mhm.
where I think it was in maybe a Silver Surfer comic
Hmm.
where he finally earned the title of Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
So maybe he has to earn it back. And Wong's a badass, and Wong deserves it.
Although
Wong
judging
is
for
sick of your crap. He's
although
sick of
judging
all of
by
your
the
crap.
from the trailer at the very end of the credits, it seems like Strange is in hot water with a botched spell. The botched spell and all that, and we got a Dark Strange and a Mordu, I believe is how you say his name. Just so yeah, it looks like he might not be
Mordu.
more. He won't be Sorcerer Supreme for a while. By the looks of it, at least until the end of that movie. But like I said earlier, I said my top 3 Spider-Man. This is officially my favorite Spider-Man movie ever, the best one I've seen ever. So if I had to rank my top 3 Spider-Man movies now, live action, top 3 live action now is No Way Home, Spider-Man 2, and Homecoming. So
Spider-Man 2, I would still put above this movie because that movie, beat for beat, does not lull for a moment, whereas No Way Home had some lulls. I mean, I'll face that truth because I'm excited about the movie. I just saw it, but give it about a month's time. Are we going to remember all of the most emotional moments? Are you going to remember that scene on the train when everybody's passing Peter around like a joint at a Grateful Dead concert and then finally goes, "We're not going to leak who you
well,
are,
I don't
Mr.
know.
Spider-Man." That
There's
was huge.
I don't know, the lulls in there are still too, like the whole emotional, like the whole doctor's visit for my friend and the whole and his empty blockage and all that.
I
There
like
was
how they addressed it in this movie.
yeah, so there's
Existential crisis. Yeah, I've
yeah.
had that too. Yeah, me too. You got to be
But
better to yourself.
there's kind of full just interesting there. Just I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's tough, like I said, and then but then if you have if you throw in Into the Spider-Verse, it switches around. Spider-Man 2 drops to number 3, Into the Spider-Verse is my second one. But what did you think about the when their whole Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3, because when I saw Andrew Garfield going Peter 3, in my mind I'm hearing, yeah, we all know that of the three of us, I'm the least favorite. So that's why I
It's
kind
like
of
a wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the audience. Yeah, we know that we totally messed up Amazing Spider-Man 2. I mean, I
yeah,
remember my ex-girlfriend walked out of that movie and went, "You can stick around and watch the rest, but this is garbage." And
yeah,
I had to sit there in my own stew going, "You know what? She's right."
you know
Aw.
you know y- either that or the whole yeah, you each get 3 movies and I had 2.
Hmm.
Which is another little on the nose.
Yeah, not only that, at least Holland got 3 movies and a special appearance in a couple other films, whereas the
Yeah,
rest of them can't say that.
yeah, that was very cool. So,
It's like, "Hey,
but
I'm with the Avengers." That's great.
right.
Who are the Avengers?
Yeah. 2 guys who don't work on teams. I work on a team. I'm with the Avengers. Great. What are they? It's just like, wow. Yeah. Earth's mightiest hit. Damn, it's a big thing. Never mind. But I liked it a lot. I especially liked. I really liked how they did Electro. Although he was blue when he first showed up. Although I haven't quite figured out in my mind how he went from blue to yellow here. It's almost like he
World change think of if you're absorbing power from planet to planet from like Dragon Ball Z, they give it
uh,
color change. It lets you know if you're a good guy or a bad guy, just like Star Wars with the lightsaber colors. So once you saw that his color changed, that let you know, well, now he's no longer trying to be on the force of good, or he's now from this other world and he's changed his mind from wanting to go back and changing his evil ways to screw it, I'm nefarious again.
yeah. The only thing I could think of, which I mean yours is a good suggestion. The only thing I could think of was Um, the example is from like the Supergirl TV show and Flash TV show when the alternate Earths and all that, how each vibrated on a different frequency. They are
Mhm.
slightly built a different way, atomic structure, energy structure, whatever, so that the energy our Earth is slightly different than ASM's Earth. And so his energy reflected the fact that he's now here. It wouldn't quite work the same way, and that's why it turned a different color and why he was back to being black versus blue. so
Hmm.
so that's the only thing I could possibly think of.
Now I'd start having other questions like, how many nipples do you have? Do you have one heart? I don't know. I watch a lot of Doctor Who, and from reality to reality, things change just a little infinitesimal little bit.
Yeah, but so definitely very good. So, what were some of your things you liked about the movie?
The death of Aunt May.
Yeah, that was
Applying Uncle Ben reasoning and the entire intention for him existing, while they muted it a little bit for the fact that Peter didn't want to help these bad guys. become good guys, because that's, you don't really change from good to bad. Life is a lot of gray, but she wanted him to try, and he
Mm,
just didn't care. Just, that's not my problem. And then right at the point when she's dying, you have a great gift, Peter. And it was almost line for line how Brian Michael Bendis did it from The Death of Uncle Ben, from his Ultimate Spider-Man run of, you got a
mm,
great gift, Peter. And what you can do, it's not just because you can do it for yourself. You got a great gift, and with great power there must come great responsibility.
yeah,
Dead.
it was.
Like,
Yeah, I definitely. I was a bit shocked, but also was kind of like, we always wondered, is Aunt May gonna live and all that? I mean, because what's the role of Aunt May in that regard? I've said, like I said earlier, that Aunt May, she served a purpose in the comics when she knew Spider-Man, when she died in 400, and when she knew who Spider-Man was. Other than that, she was basically a plot line of,
that's all
you
she
know,
was.
can't find
A
out.
plot line.
She can't find out. She's 150 years old. She'll die. She finds out her weak heart, her weak heart.
Wasn't every other Spider-Man story from Amazing Spider-Man #1 all the way through the very final issue, jumping over to volume 2 and the
Mm,
current, what is it, 3, 4 are we at now?
yeah.
Wasn't it almost every single storyline? Aunt May is sick. I need to get her this special virus cream, this special elixir, this special cure, because
Yeah.
that will bring her back to life, even one more day. Well, bitch was shot. Ah, well,
Yeah.
you have to fix this. He didn't bother going to the people that could actually do something like elixir. Elixir could have fixed it like that, but that would
Mm,
not have serviced the plot line.
yeah. So, I mean, it'd be very interesting, because even looking back at Aunt May's role in Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Man, what was the role she had? Yeah, or what was the role? I mean, you got the whole,
Support
people need
network.
Rosemary's people need a hero, someone to believe in. So, and Spider-Man 2, so that was, there kind of the whole thing. But otherwise, she was not in the third movie. She was, this is the ring Ben gave me. You should have it.
All right, so
And
let's look at the character of Peter Parker. He's a
mhm,
needy kid that has anxiety, that needs validation,
mhm,
and he needs people to tell him, you're doing the right thing. Keep doing it. You're good inside. And each and every person in his life, from MJ to Ned to May, Happy, Iron Man, freaking everybody in his life, the Avengers, they were there to support him. And
mhm,
now wiped out. There's
yeah,
nobody there to support him. And he just saw a slight little taste of it from Jameson of,
mhm,
and wherever Spider-Man goes, catastrophe follows.
yeah.
I mean,
There
now
was,
he knows what it's like to feel pain and loss, and it's through that you usually become a better person. When you have life by the balls, that's usually when you go the route of being a giant douchebag, and
yeah.
he's no longer going to be that person.
Yeah. There's something I watched like a decade ago or 15 years ago. It was like Star Wars Legacy. It was kind of like the philosophy behind Star Wars kind of thing. I mean, I've tried to find it ever since. I've never, and I've yet to, and I find it. But one part that I remember fully when it talked about was, it talked about like the death of a mentor and all
Mm.
that. Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda. The mentor has to die, or he has to leave, because with the mentor still present, the student or the pupil or whoever it is will not stand up on their own. They will always be leaning or going towards that person for comfort or guidance, but without that person there, they have to actually take what they know and stand up for themselves. And so that's why I wasn't upset with Aunt May dying, is it taught him the lesson that this is the true cost of being a hero, for doing the right thing. Sometimes it costs you dearly. But after that,
Sacrifice.
after that, he's friendless. After the whole thing, he's mentorless. He is on his
Jobless.
own, standing up. So it made perfect sense. So, but yes, I mean,
Spider-Man's a hobo.
yeah, but just
At
I
the end of
love.
Spider-Man, they made him a damn hobo. He's jobless, friendless, has no money in the bank, has no prospects for making money right now, other than the fact that he is Spider-Man. He could take pictures or video with a smartphone, if he still has that, and a contract. He probably doesn't have that anymore because the world doesn't know that Peter Parker exists. So he's
Yeah,
really behind the eight ball right now.
true, true. I just like that where things are going. We he's without Happy and any Stark related thing there, so the whole Iron Man haters might be able to let that go. You'll be starting with someone completely on his own and all that, and so then you have that. You have a homemade suit to protect himself. You know, smart, because we saw another great example of just how smart Peter is in the mirror dimension. And, oh, this is math, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden in his
geometry.
brain, I mean, that was just like, yeah, if that was me, I would have been screwed.
So Stephen, when you were putting on your socks and sachet at the beginning of this morning, when you got out of bed, did you think that this would be happening to you?
Yeah, and I was at the Grand Canyon for 12 hours. We could have used you here. You know, you think, after hanging over the Grand Canyon for 12 hours, you might have felt sympathy for Loki for falling for 30 minutes. So, but the whole interaction between them, Tobey Maguire's throwback, popping like my back, trying to pop his back, going like, oh yeah, I feel you, man, I feel you. you know, I've sat wrong for years as a kid, and I'm paying for it now, so I can definitely relate to my back. So, but
And
that
the
was,
organic web shooters, where at least they didn't go down the weird sexual route where they could have gone like, hey, so let's start comparing notes. Thank God they didn't go down that route. They just stuck with the, wait, yours comes out of your wrist. Mine doesn't. Stop making fun of me. No, I'm just saying I have to make my own web fluid. It's a hassle.
and the whole thing there with when they were talking when Andrew and Toby were talking, I guess not in the cards for guys like us. I didn't see a ring on Toby, but it certainly made it seem like things did work out between Mary Jane and Peter, and they may or may not be married in the future or in his world, but they are together. So we still have that.
I know in one of the original drafts, it was mentioned early on that they were planning on killing one of the Spider-Men.
Hmm.
Which do you think it was going to be?
I'm guessing the one that had the run in with the blade. I
Mm.
would
I,
it
I
would
would
have
have thought that would have been too easy. I would have thought that it would have completed the arc of Andrew Garfield had he saved the life of MJ, and in the very next scene just gets totally zapped saving the life of somebody else by Electro. That would have been great. Just saying.
yeah. That would have been something there, because then, like I said, he redeemed himself, and you could see by him recently breaking down, or she's going, "Are you okay?" I'm going like, we all. I mean, and the fact that they didn't hit us over the head with that we were trusted to understand that he saved someone in a way he failed to before, and how much that actually impact him and all that. But I mean, yeah, with Andrew dying after doing that would make some sense there too, because I've heard people talk whatever about people like, we need Amazing Spider-Man 3 now. We need Amazing Spider-Man 3. Andrew Garfield needs another movie. I'm sitting here going, why? You know,
Not with the same writers.
the same writers, and unless you're really doing something like 10 years in the future to where, okay, he is a slightly darker Spider-Man. Maybe he has the black suit in his world now because he was in mourning, yada yada with Gwen, and he's finding his way back into his quippy self. Maybe, but his time as Spider-Man has passed, and him being a part of a multiverse now is the only reason I would say for him to be a Spider-Man again. But a standalone movie with Andrew, I don't see it happening, or I don't see what story could possibly come from it. I just don't see it. So, I mean,
If they decide to do any other story with him, let it be as Ben Riley.
yeah, there you go. Yeah. Or no, Kane, since that one came out imperfect and he looked different, and yada yada
Now
yada.
that can be Toby because Toby, let's face it, he's old and he probably doesn't want to do this anymore, and his bones creak, and he doesn't want to do the action scenes where he's most definitely going to get injured. I mean, shit. Going back to that very first movie when he was swinging on those lines in New York City, he was literally up like 200, 300 feet in the New York City skylines for several scenes. That was him, not a stuntman. 20 some odd years later, I don't think his 50, 60-year-old bones are going to take it anymore.
I don't know if 66-year-old Defoe can hop around there, fighting, toe for toe. I
Well,
think
Willem
Andrew
Dafoe is a Highlander. He's an immortal and he'll probably outlive all of us.
Garfield.
He is the Green Goblin.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So yeah, I love this movie. I mean, I want to go see it again if I can find the time. Like I said, I went the very second because I didn't want to stay off of Facebook or YouTube this
Same.
weekend and whatever. And I was like, well, after work, I had a change of clothes, so that way I was at least semi clean versus in for my dirty, dust and sawdust environment. And then I waited in line or waited for 2 hours, basically at the front of the line because, like I said, there was a second showing. So I waited for 2 hours until they started selling the tickets for the second show because, lucky or unlucky, my theater, here in Alamosa doesn't do online ticket sales or whatever.
Mm,
So you
there's a
basically
few
show.
places still like that.
Yeah. So basically, I didn't have to try and fight for tickets as soon as possible and like other places. So I could go there, be first in line or close to first in line, and be guaranteed the 3 tickets for my family to see it. So I waited there for 2 hours. Tickets went on sale for the second show. Bought my tickets. My family, and we went inside and waited for the movie to start. So, like I said, luckily my person here is still old school, really old school, spiteful woman. So I'd hate to see when she goes, they might actually modernize and make things more complicated.
Yeah, I guess
So
that's the good thing about going to those old dollar theaters that well, we used to call them in the 90s dollar theaters. They're ones where they never upgraded anything. The technology is older than dirt. Uh, they only replace something if it breaks. And if they do replace something, it's 20 years old. So at least by not upgrading and having online ticket sales, there's more of a likelihood that there's going to be less people there, or at least the psychology is that, because I want to make sure I get tickets. It's like my new computer that just came in. I want to
right.
make sure that this damn thing comes. Wait a second, the delivery man was already here like 15 minutes ago. I will pay him extra to come here now. You want to make sure that you get to see Spider-Man. You don't want to go, oh, well, there is only 3 seats left and they're all in the very front where you're looking up like this.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so luckily, like I said, the most modern thing about my theater is probably the digital projector kind of a thing. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, once she goes or once she sells, they might modernize things in some regard, or they might be online ticket sales. I have no idea. The fact that it is Alamosa, a city of 10, 11,000 people versus a city, might not need to do a online purchase, assigned seat kind of a thing. So the very fact that I am small town and can fits, I guess, that kind of system.
If you lived in Fort, Utah with 30 people that live in the entire town, you probably don't need online ticket sales.
Yeah.
But if you have a major metropolitan city nearby, probably not a bad thing. Because if
Yeah.
I lived in a major city and I want to make sure, damn sure that I actually get a seat at a theater, I will go out of town. I'm willing to do that.
Yeah. So,
I'm
yeah.
old enough, if you remember the movie Boogie Nights, it
Yeah.
was a week before it came out. I drove 400 miles so I could go see it. If Spider Man only came out in 3 theaters in the state, you better believe I'd be driving 200 miles to go see it.
Yeah. But yeah, back to the movie and all that. Just the best part of the movie was definitely, I think, once Toby and Andrew came in, I think, and the whole interaction between the Spider-Man and the experiences and basically comparing movies and villains. Well, it was a lot of fun, the whole shocking going, that came out of you? You don't have that? And just, it's just It's just very, very funny and just very cool. I mean, yeah, Aunt May's sacrifice, death, and her thing there, and Peter, just all of it was really, really well done. I would just definitely very well done, and just it was definitely worth it. They saved the best movie for last in the trilogy, and I
Even
love
Doc
the
Ock
fact,
was probably a show stealer, despite the fact that they did a very cartoony scene when he's bad guy Doc Ock, and I'm gonna kill you, Spider-Man. Click, and then power down.
yeah.
Whoop,
What did
I
you think of?
hear silence. How can I help, my boy?
Yeah,
It was very cartoonish, but
yeah.
it worked because it very much felt like Sam Raimi.
I loved the whole like movie, like how the nanotech somehow went onto his arms. Like, oh, that's how he did the nanotech. He didn't upgrade the tech; kind of migrated onto him, or either I'm not sure if it migrated if it went with him, or if Tom fed it to him. But I loved all suddenly the parental controls on Doc Ock's arms. It
Yeah.
was like
When he
this is
starts
the
doing the
biggest,
whole action with his arm. Hey,
yeah.
stop it. I'm in control. Not anymore.
Yeah, the biggest bad villain after getting Goblin on any Spider-Man villain, and he's now the puppet. It was just
Humiliating, I'm sure.
yeah, it was just funny as hell.
For half a second, did you think that we might have gotten just about maybe 10 or 20 minutes worth of superior Spider Man there?
For a second, it almost seemed like that, but it was just, and then the fact that after he saved the admissions officer and all that, I'm gonna put a good word for you guys, a good word for you and your friends. We're gonna talk. Keep your nose clean, and you don't do that.
And then at the end of the movie, that whole scene lost, erased.
Yeah. Well, lost for Peter. It still happened for MJ and Ned.
Well, it would have happened for them had they not have known Peter Parker, the man
Yeah.
that ruins lives
I don't
wherever he touches.
now that I think about it, that I don't know 100%. I mean, yeah, I understand being friends or connected to people it can affect you somewhat, but I don't know how much I mean, how realistic do you think it was that a school would be like, "Oh, you're friends with this person, we can't accept you."
I could actually understand that if you're the type of person where if you might encourage a bad guy or a villain that has been shown in the past that by knowing somebody, it could incur hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of property damage. They probably talk to their internal litigators from the university to go, yeah, you can't have him here. He's a liability.
Hmm. I mean, it made a little bit of sense in that regard, but also is like we didn't need to add that fully. Although I guess it was crucial to aspects of the story, because it wasn't just. I mean, if it was Peter himself, no one accepting him and all that, he could basically, yeah, I'll find high school diploma. I'll be Spider-Man in the future and all that. But it was everything being taken away from his friends that pushed him to go to Doctor Strange. So I guess it had to have something to bring him there, not just the world. Because other than the fact that whole
How did
Mysterio was
Flash
right,
get in, though? If
what?
Flash was going around saying, I'm Spider Man's best friend, I'm Spider Man's best friend, I'm Spider Man's best
But
friend.
everyone knows Flash is full of shit.
He got into MIT. Hey, I got into MIT. Didn't you? Oh, sorry. Bye. What a
Yeah, I mean,
dick.
Flash is one of those people that going like, yeah, sure, you're friends with Spider-Man, and I know, and yeah, and I know, and I know Morgan Freeman. Yeah, I got a pic. He's in my living room right now. We're about to have dinner. So, so I'm like, yeah, sure, prove it.
Although, after watching these last couple movies, don't you kind of want Flash Thompson to go to war and lose his legs and become Agent Venom?
I don't know the way
Just
this
saying.
Flash, the way this Flash is, he gone from the mental bully to the pathetic guy who thinks he's a pathetic high school quarterback who thinks he's still cool in high school. So Flash has
He
really
peaks at high school.
he's really the portrayal of stagnant and all that. So I don't want to see Flash anymore unless he seriously changes his character. They seriously changes his character. You know, mean, yeah, no legs, anti-venom somehow, but the way they're going now, they need to redo his character and recast the actor, because I did not buy that. I never bought him as Flash. I don't like him as Flash. What they need to turn that character into, I don't see him being able to portray that or give that. I don't think he has that in him. We need a different actor to play Flash and then change who Flash is if we're going to keep the character of Flash in the movie going forward.
Flash would be a good character to find out that Peter Parker and Spider-Man are close, so he's going to want to become close to Peter. But if they decide to do another movie, I think this would be a great setup.
Yeah.
So, just as I said before, no MJ. MJ's out of this. Let her do her singing career and what Entourage or whatever the show is on HBO. So, set it up with Black Cat. Set it up with Craven. Have Craven kill Spider-Man. Bury him underground. He's still alive. And now Flash has to go through the loss, the tragedy, the death of Peter Parker, only to find out he's still alive. They kill him, or they make him lose his legs, and he gets infected with Venom, who kind of wants to help at this point. They kill off Eddie Brock because his contract's probably over soon, and he wants out of this because he sees how poorly his character's been written. And you give Flash the new Venom, and he gets to redeem his character a bit before they kill him off and then bring him back as anti-Venom.
Yeah, that's seriously the only part, the only role. If they're gonna have him move forward, that's seriously the only part on way move forward. I think for him to be is a anti-Venom or the Marvel Spider-Man TV show where he was after a rough story arc, he was the good guy hero Goblin or Hobgoblin in that animated TV show, kind of a thing. He needs to have some sort of hero-esque kind of thing for Flash, but they said they seriously need to do some sort of mental wipes, because he gone from the, Spider-Man's my role model. What up, dickwad? To Spider-Man, me and best friend, and all that. Check out my book, Flashpoint, which is not a total ripoff of DC.
I love that.
So it's like, but yeah, who he is. No, so that's probably the reason why I said they need to recast Flash, is because they seriously turned him from he has potential to stagnant in his role to the joke of the character in this third movie here. They seriously, if they're going to change his role, they need to change the actor too, because I don't buy anything going forward with this character. I just don't buy it with Flash. Anyway, but what do you think? What do you think about Ned here?
That's what I was going to bring up next. So I think they could actually kill Spider-Man in the next movie. And I mean, they still have a Green Goblin running around, right? So you kill Green Goblin, you kill the actual Spider-Man, you bring in Miles Morales. You basically do what they did during the Ultimate Spider-Man series with the death of Spider-Man. Tom finally gets to walk off into the sunset and do his Oscar-winning movies from here on out. And he can come back every now and then to do voiceovers for animation and earn that fat Marvel paycheck. And you'll have a new Miles Morales Spider-Man movie.
I don't know. I do look forward to a live action Miles possibility coming in here, but the whole him actually replacing Spider-Man or Peter Parker, I don't see it, because Miles works in his own universe. But in this universe with Peter Parker, you need to have Peter here. I don't think, because
Miles started in a different universe too, and now he's part of the 616.
Well, yeah, but our Peter is still here. You need to, our
There's
Peter
still
didn't
other
go there.
Peters running around. You're just getting rid of one of them. It's like watching Rick and Morty, and in any one of those episodes, they can murder off 1,000 Rick Sanchez's, 1,000 Mortys. As long as you have a C-137, you're good. And it doesn't even really matter if it's a C-137.
Yeah, I
just
don't
a Spider-Man.
I see him being a part of maybe even getting his own movies in a sense with whoever Spider-Man is playing cameo roles like that regard, but I don't see him butting out Peter Parker and that 100% going. I mean, part of the love of Spider-Man is Peter Parker, So I think at least going forward, you're gonna need both. I mean, if in the future, if you do eventually replace him with Miles, it's gonna be seriously a partnership going forward for a while before you can slowly fade out Peter. But I think it'd be a while before I think, at least before I would buy it.
It would be a bold move. I don't think they would do it, but
Yeah.
if they really wanted to write him off, it would be a good way to pass along the torch. But I would love to have them both running around in the same universe.
Hmm.
I just know actors aren't preferential to a particular role forever. Everybody
I
wants
don't
to go and
understand.
branch out, do other things.
I would love to be known. I mean, I would love to be that person, I guess. I mean, yes, you might make it a little harder moving forward, but you're always going to be like Daniel Radcliffe or Harry Potter. I would love to be so loved and well known for that one person that I am Harry Potter in that regard. So yeah, I understand it makes it slightly more difficult if you're typecast, but that just proves how good of a job you've done, or and how popular a character is if you're associated with that character. But anyway, back with Miles. I think he would work. Miles works best in the animated Sony verse that we have him in. I think that's where that character belongs. There is in animation. I mean, yeah, we can bring him in live action, like Civil War, or Spider-Man, where he plays part of Spider-Man swinging through Brooklyn. Oh, hi Miles, how's it going? Kind of a thing, but not a full action, Spider gang in the same world. And that Miles's world in Brooklyn is in the animation. That's where I believe that Miles would thrive. Keep, like you said, the Ultimate Universe and the 616 universe. They are both separate. Just happen to be live action versus animation separation.
Oh, so with everything that wound up happening during Loki and WandaVision, did you think that not tying any of those two or Kang to this movie was a mistake? Or do you think that it was a good idea just easing the audience into the idea of this multiverse?
Easing
Missed
slightly.
opportunity or not?
Might be easing slightly. Although, like I said, I wasn't. I'm glad they didn't try and bring in a Miles. But hey, you already got these two. Here's a hint of a Miles. I'm glad they didn't do that. Probably because I would have liked it either way, but I'm just glad they didn't try and shove another character down there. And see, we established Miles. Now we can start him off.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
just put some dude into a black and red outfit and they don't show his face and then go, hey, there he is for a second to show he exists. Kind of like what they did at the end of Edge of the Spider-Verse, and they brought in 2099. They didn't need an actor for that, just to show a glimpse.
although I love the kind of hint at Miles that we did get in that regard. With
Mm,
Electro going, "You're from Queens. I thought you'd be black."
great Easter egg.
So it's going like, oh, there's your Miles cameo right there, the hint of a black Spider-Man. So just, I mean, it kind of makes sense, a New York City, a borough kind of thing, modern time, even back in 2012 or 14. Chances are, roll the die, it would be person for person a minority of some kind, not just a
It
white.
was gentrified heavily over the last 10 years, and
Mhm.
now it's a lot different from how it used to be. If you
Yeah,
go back and watch movies like Coming to America, New York City was a very different place.
yeah, but it was but yeah, I just like that kind of thing there. So it was just really cool. Doc Ock was interesting with his replacement of the chip, so it was almost like a fourth wheel for the Spider-Man, because just very interesting the whole movie all around. So, but I definitely said A plus. Few of my cons almost knocked it down to an A, but that's just me being nitpicky. But like I said, A plus. I couldn't have any complaints with this movie. Ultimately, everything else is just superficial.
Yeah, it's nitpicky in the same way that at the end of one of the Star Wars, when you wind up seeing the Wookiee not getting his prize honor while everybody else is being bestowed on the medals. Why not the Wookiee?
It's
And
an
then you realize
anti-fur
I'm not
agenda.
even saying his name because that's how little they thought of it.
It's the anti-fur agenda.
But that was how nitpicky you'd have to be.
Yeah. Yep, yep. Well, the captain of the ship, so what matters, not the sidekicks. That's what the Wookiee was the sidekick. Uh,
They're
um,
born to die. They're cannon fodder to them.
yeah. Well, I
But we're
got
coming
nothing
up
else.
on the hour. I know you don't want to go too long.
Yeah. I thought I heard the oven go off not long ago, which means dinner's gonna be ready soon. So thank you very much, Rob, for joining me. So it was nice to talk to someone for a little bit.
You're a huge Spider-Man fan. I wanted your opinion.
Yeah. My opinion was No Way Home, the best Spider-Man movie ever.
Except for Spider-Man 2.
No, better than that one.
No, Raimi is better. He's a better director and more
Just because he did it
experienced.
just because he did it first doesn't mean he did it best.
Yeah, also true.
So I mean,
One wouldn't have existed
unless it
without
comes to
the
me,
other.
unless it comes to me, then the first was the best. So so yeah, in that regard there. So yeah, I loved it. Spider No Way Home, Spider-Man 2, Homecoming, my top 3 Spider-Man movies. Look forward to this. I am buying this movie the second I can, and I'm buying all the extras, all the extended edition. You know, I'll buy that $30 bonus pack, whatever. I'll probably end up buying all 8 movies or together, you know, in one.
If there's a comic that comes with it, I'm sure you're gonna grab it, send it off to CGC, and hope for a 9.9.
Yeah. Hell, maybe just love it, love it, love it. So thank you. Well, I'm gonna sign off now, everyone. Gotta go get myself some dinner. See you, Rob. Thank you for joining me.
Bye,
And
everybody. Don't die.
yep,
Love
happy
you.
collecting, everyone. See you guys next time. Talk to you later.